All right, we'll get started. It's the top of the hour, so good morning and thank you for joining us. My name is Katie Austin. I'm the marketing manager here at Superior Support Resources, and welcome to this morning's TechBytes session, Lake Country Manufacturing's Data Journey. I have just a few housekeeping items before we get started. The first is, if you see this screen at any point, just press the play button and you'll get right back into the live webinar. If you have technical issues, there's a reconnect button at the top of your screen that usually takes care of those. Otherwise, please reach out to the admin group if you still have capabilities to chat. That chat function is at the bottom right of your screen, so feel free to put your questions there throughout the session. We'll be monitoring that and answering those at the end. Also at the lower right, you'll see a polling question up already. Please submit your response at any point, and then we'll kind of watch those and report out once everybody has answered. This session is recorded, so we will be sending you the recording about no later than 3 business days after the session. And for those of you who are not familiar with SSR or Superior Support Resources, we have been providing small to mid-sized businesses with technology services that increase productivity, improve profitability, and reduce risk for more than 20 years. Our total IT service capabilities that you see on the right allows us to be far more than a managed service provider and provide a well-rounded, tailored solution that scales up or back with your technology needs, from keeping you up and running to securing your environment to developing specialized reporting applications that we'll talk through today. Speaking of talking through our points today, these are the discussion points we'll get through today with Don and Raj's help. We're going to be talking about catalysts and motivations for becoming a data-driven business, keys to successfully implementing and engaging your team, pitfalls to avoid when adjusting to a data focus, and then likely outcomes and drivers for reaping the greatest benefits from your data. So without further ado, let's introduce your speakers. Raj Muthupandian will be interviewing Don Sura from Lake Country Manufacturing today. Raj is our SSR's Director of Advanced Software Solutions, and he has more than 20 years of experience. He's passionate and skilled at addressing the needs of small to mid-sized businesses by applying his Fortune 5000 experience and his product strategy experience. So Raj, do you want to introduce that?
Thank you, Katie. Welcome, everyone. So Don is a global sales director at Lake Country Manufacturing, and he has more than 15 years of industry experience. I've been working with Don for close to the past year, and from the first meeting, I can tell that he's one of the pioneers in changing the culture of his organization. And at LCM, Lake Country Manufacturing, he has done a tremendous job of moving the organization from no data to a data-driven company from a sales point of view, and that's actually evolving to other areas of the business too. So I watch and learn from him too. He's one of the pioneers and leaders in what he's trying to do to his company and others. So this is a starting point for helping others understand how you can use data to help your organizations. And thank you, Don, for joining us today. And please go ahead and give us more information about your background and your time at LCM.
Yeah, thank you, Raj. And good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be here and share my experience in working with SSR and what it's done for our business. I've started my career in sales back in 2005 in the mortgage industry in sales, and was involved in industrial distribution with a Fortune 500 company 2008 to 2015 with a number of different companies, Granger and Aaron's company, and some specialty brands, and where I used SAP and Oracle. We used a lot of different data platforms. A lot of them were custom made, and I used multiple CRM softwares throughout my career. I ended up after industrial distribution, I went into retail for an electrical distribution, working with home centers and hardware accounts, so the big box stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, and then also we had customers in the electrical distribution industry. And after that, I was actually recruited by Lake Country Manufacturing to join their team in 2017. And when I took that opportunity, Lake Country Manufacturing was just on the verge of implementing a new ERP system, which I was fortunate enough to be a part of, and that's really where our data journey began. So it was really good timing with my experience and background to bring some ideas about what we would need to be successful in the coming years.
Thank you, Don. Well, we'll jump on to the Q&A aspect of this, the whole webinar. Okay, so Don, if you can give us the baseline, what the operations and sales look like when you arrived at Lake Country Manufacturing.
Yeah, certainly. We were operating from an old legacy ERP system that was custom built, and we were in the process of implementing a new ERP system, as I had mentioned. And there was really no visibility into any operations on the production floor. After an order was submitted, we had very little knowledge of our inventory tracking. We had at the time 35 to 37 production employees. There was very low visibility to sales and product data. The only sales report was a monthly sales summary report and product report by product code. So we didn't have a CRM or sales funnel at the time. We actually had 2 account executives that reported into me, and they handled all of the sales and technical product support, product development, and any kind of quality issues that may have arisen. So it was quite different than the different companies that I've worked for in the past. We didn't have a lot of information. We didn't have a lot of reporting capabilities. So it was a very different environment for myself, but something that I knew we were going to be getting into, provided my direction from Jay, the president, has given me some flexibility to kind of play with different ideas, and that's how we got introduced to SSR, because of our relationship on the other side of the business that they managed for us on the IT side. So it was a good partnership.
Thank you, Don. Moving on, and what were the primary focus areas or the biggest issues or gaps you had to resolve when you started?
There were many. Part of my job was to build the sales channel for Lake Country Manufacturing, and so while I was there, I proposed my plan for a sales team, in which we implemented, and with that, we needed to have a number of different objectives, and we had a lot of gaps to fill. Some of them were upward reporting. We didn't really have anything outside of that monthly sales report I mentioned earlier. We needed to be able to elevate our sales team and give them the proper tools so they could do territory analysis. We'd have a place where we could have all of our KPIs all in one place. We needed to be able to look at a glance view of performance from a month-to-date and year-to-date perspective, and how we're performing to our plan and year over year. And then forecasting was a big part of our need and was a gap currently. We needed to be able to, for our sales team, to be able to do account planning and have easy access to the data within their customers and in their territory. And then also to look at product performance. How are our products performing? And to starting to look at the data behind the products, and understanding where we need to look at changes. So those are the main gaps.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's a common in the industry itself. So I'm glad that you're able to start there. Hey, what about the driving forces behind Lake Country taking on BI and taking your business data to the next level?
Sure. It was kind of an easy decision. When as I mentioned earlier, I was hired to implement a sales channel for our business and manage the sales funnel using our new CRM system. And in order to do that, we needed to have the data to help support, my team essentially. And so we needed data and evidence to guide our product decisions as well. And having experience, obviously, with similar dashboards and other roles, I knew the importance of having this data available. We needed the ability to report our sales performance, as well as provide tools for our sales team to analyze their territories and their sales funnel to achieve the company-wide sales plan.
Got it. Got it. Hey, so what are the outcomes you expected on?
Well, there were several. We needed help with buy-in of the sales goals that we established for the sales team, so our plan. And we needed to be able to set expectations that were achievable as well, and to provide the tools necessary to manage to their plan. We needed to be able to provide the ability to go in and understand our opportunities and build a plan for them. And we needed to be able to see and determine which of our customers are growing and which were struggling, which we refer to them as leaders and bleeders a lot of the times. So we needed to be more strategic in what and how we went to market in each of our territories. So we wanted to understand the makeup of our territory for each of the sales reps, and understanding which product to lead with or how to prioritize based on struggling industries, et cetera, within our business.
Got it. Got it. Hey, so do you have an example of some trends you have since spotted and what that means for your business?
Yeah, I can think of a couple off the bat. For our business, many of you may not know, but a lot of our business traditionally has been private label, or some refer to as white label products. And then we also had our brand of Lake Country manufacturing products. And before we had all of this data available, we didn't really understand, what percentage of our sales were under private label, or what percentage were under our Lake Country brand. And recently we've made a significant investment in investing in our brand. We've been in business for over 40 plus years, and our brand has kind of organically grown in our industry amongst professionals that use our products. We manufacture buffing and polishing pads, primarily for the automotive industry. And, we spent a lot of resources and time and energy in developing our social media channel, really understanding, how we can go to market with our brand. We did a new logo, did a new brand guidelines, and we wanted to be able to measure and see how we're performing, with our brand versus the private label business, which, we were able to see. Traditionally, we thought, we made a lot of assumptions in our business. There wasn't a lot of facts, so we assumed we were doing maybe 90% of our business in private label, 10% of our business in our Lake Country branded product. Now with this data, we're in Power BI, we're able to actually determine what our actual percentage is, which is actually a 70% private label and 30% Lake Country branded product. And we're starting to see a trend in growth for our Lake Country branded product, which is what we want to see, obviously, with our investments. So that was a very useful tool for us. An example of some of the trends that we've been able to spot using the data. Another example I can think of is sales geography. When we first started the sales channel, we looked at establishing our territories within the United States specifically. We're an international company. We distribute in over 50 countries worldwide. But our sales team was going to start in the U.S. And so we created 3 territories, both the West, Central, and East regions. And we didn't have any visibility before of where our customers and where our sales were coming from. And so now with this tool in Power BI, we were able to really identify and see where our sales were coming in. And we were quite surprised to find that a majority of our sales came from our central and eastern regions of the United States. We had very, very little sales in the western part of the U.S., which was kind of eye-opening for us. And we felt it was really an opportunity. One of our main competitors, obviously, is located in California. So for us, it was eye-opening, but it also has helped us establish an opportunity and a presence in the western region, and that's been growing double digits for us since we established a territory with a sales rep in that region.
Okay, yeah, great summary. So moving on to the next item, like I think having data, like availability of data, and digging too far, that's the topic there. How do you avoid analysis paralysis? That's kind of challenge sometimes. You have so much data now.
Yeah, there's so much data available, and it can be overwhelming at times. And for us, we are a small company, and this was all very new for us, and having this type of these tools and this data. And what do we do with it now? So when we deployed Power BI to my team, I held several training sessions to review the basics and provide training materials to reference, with shortcuts to help them navigate and to address any questions or concerns. I conducted one-on-ones. I do biweekly one-on-ones with everyone on my team, and I followed up and made sure that this was a topic in each of our one-on-ones. And during that one-on-one, I wanted to slowly introduce a few basic ways with shortcuts and how to use the data to improve their sales process or improve product performance. So you have to intentionally ensure that you're using the data in your day-to-day activities, in your meetings, to show that this isn't just a flavor of the month. This is something that is ingrained in our culture. This is something we're going to be living and breathing daily. We also hold quarterly business report outs with my team and our product management team, and they're required to use this data in their presentations. And this helps with their buy-in and how the data can help them meet their strategic and tactical goals. It also helps them with forecasting. Allows them to use the data in real-world applications, that they can begin to see the real-world benefits and applications. And it naturally becomes a part of their daily process. And a good example of this is I'll often get text messages on my way to work if the numbers in the Power BI data are incorrect or they haven't been updated. So I know they're engaged, they're looking at their numbers every day, and it's become part of their culture.
Awesome. So to summarize, I think my understanding is, based on what you said, it's basically how you get the buy-in. The way you get the buy-in is basically you make it part of your daily rhythm, or weekly rhythm, or monthly rhythm, or quarterly rhythm. Then people start using it. Awesome. I'm also learning the sales aspect here. So thank you, Don. Moving on.
Sure.
How did you select your KPIs? That's a tricky one because everything is important. How do you prioritize, and how did you select yours?
Yeah, that's a good question. And throughout my experience and my different roles, I've been a part of a number of different KPIs, both as an individual contributor in a sales role and as a sales manager and leader. And for me, I thought it was very important to keep our KPIs simple. We're still a small company. I have 3 sales reps on my team. I also manage the marketing and product for our business as well. But I've also managed up to 15 people as well before. So it's important for me to be able to simplify things for the sales team and to trust them that they're going to be doing their job. And the dashboard allows you to manage your team by giving you the data and understanding, where some of your possible gaps are within the performance of each territory, et cetera. So when I was looking at my KPIs, I wanted to keep them simple. And what we did is we looked at performance year over year. So just simply how we're performing year over year. We established a plan based on, our president's goals for the business. And so it's kind of a top down. And we applied that to each territory within our business. Customer touches were important for me, and we wanted to manage those on a quarterly basis. So within their territory, if they have 200 customers, we wanted to ensure how many of those customers are you touching? Are you touching every customer once every 90 days? That's our goal. And it's going to be different for each business depending on the number of customers, et cetera. And our sales team, they travel a lot within their respective territories, but they also do a lot of phone calls as well, and email follow-up, of course. And then the sales funnel. We wanted to set some standards for our sales funnel. So we had to obviously establish. We used the first 12 months as a baseline. So when we initially started, we didn't really have a baseline to begin with. Where after the first year we established that baseline, we came up with some actual percentages and goals for the sales funnel, and then the conversion percentage for our sales funnel, which was also very important for us to measure how well we are closing our opportunities.
Awesome. No, I like your last one for sure, because most of the time people don't start because they're like, hey, we don't have a baseline. So you got to start somewhere to move the things forward. So appreciate you sharing this. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Hey, what have you learned from your KPIs that helps you manage sales and your team?
Yeah, there's a lot of examples I could share. One of the big things for us was helping us to understand, what our conversion rates were, and looking at our sales funnel and what was important for us, and analyzing our funnel. We found that it was important to have 3 times your gap in your sales funnel, and that's relative to your conversion rate. And doing that helps you establish a plan and set activities for your team. For example, if I look at, we have 4 stages in our sales funnel. We have a initial opportunity, we have a target, and then focus target, and then you either close or win the opportunity. And each of those have a percentage of probability of closing. So initial opportunity is 10%, target is 40%, focus target's at 90%. And I can look at, the sales funnel for each territory or for the business and see how many opportunities are in each stage of the funnel. And that can help us identify where possibly we need to have more activity as a company or individually as a sales leader. So if I'm very heavy on my focus targets, and I have very few opportunities in my initial opportunity stages, I know that I probably, as a business or an individual leader, I need to probably look at prospecting and starting to fill my funnel. Because if it takes me 90 days to close my opportunities, then I'm going to probably be in a little bit of trouble and experience that roller coaster effect that many individual sales contributors deal with on a regular basis because they don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And by making sure you have a funnel that you're constantly feeding, and you're moving opportunities from the initial opportunity stage down the funnel to your focus target stage and closing those opportunities out, you're going to have a good, consistent sales in your organization. And we found that. We've had 3 consecutive years, going on 4 consecutive years of growth, which has never been done in the history of this company.
Awesome. Outstanding there. So moving on. Obviously implementing BI and operating based on your data has changed LCM immensely. what do you see as some of the most significant shifts?
Yeah, that's a good question. It changes the conversation within Lake Country for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my boss, who's a president, he likes to look at our lost opportunity reasons. So we track we have a reason in our ERP system for every sales opportunity that we lose. And so we can track that now in Power BI, and we can show, how many we're losing due to price, how many are we losing due to timing, product fit and features not right. So we look at that, and our president likes to see this to help us make strategic plans for the business. So, we kind of sense where maybe our shortfalls are, as a business. And this is a good way to do that and to identify those shortcomings. We also like to look at trends month to month, in the different now industries in our segment, which we have three main different segments in our business. It's automotive aftermarket, which is our primary bread and butter, and then we have industrial, and then retail are different segments that we sell to, which all have different subsegments within them. And before Power BI and having this tool, we weren't able to identify, those industries and trends within those industries. We weren't able to really understand which segments are performing and which are the most profitable, and where should we spend more of our time, or where can we see, some of the problem areas within the segments that we serve. So that was very, very helpful for us to be able to see that, as well as, as we talked earlier about private label versus our brand, and seeing those trends. And, our dashboards, have been evolving since we implemented the dashboard. We found that we needed to add to our dashboards, and this is direct feedback from our sales team. And so just don't think that because you've built something that it's always evolving and changing based on the needs of the business. And it also gives us, accountability and an understanding of what is happening in our business, which we didn't have before.
Yeah. No, when we work with other customers, that's the key, right? Accountability from top to bottom of all the resources we have in an organization. So that makes sense. So it's not always rosy, right? And sometimes, when you're implementing things like this, like what are the outcomes that you didn't expect, like both positive and negative?
Yeah, after deploying BI to our team and using it for several months, the sales team provided feedback on how to improve the current dashboards. As I mentioned earlier, they didn't display the type of data they were needing, and in some cases, we had to create new dashboards that we missed in the development stages. And looking back, I should have included the sales team in the development process, which I did not. I was going off based on my experience and knowledge in previous companies, where I should have, included them in that process. And that will also help you, by the way, with your buy-in. As long as they have a voice in this process, I think is critical, and it will foster, greater buy-in from your team. I also realized several months in that we needed to have an executive dashboard to summarize, the business at a glance, which was something that, our executive team looked at and said, it would be nice to have an executive dashboard, which, this is kind of our first iteration of that, and is just a business at a glance, and it's been very helpful.
Awesome. Hey, so working with you, Don, in the past year, what I'm also learning with you is, that I see in other customers too. It's not like a one-time, you set it up, the BI dashboards are out there. It's a continuous improvement, So you hear from the teams and leadership teams and others, and continuously improve and get to the greatness level. So I'm glad that that's happening in LCM. Moving on, I think we're doing well with the time, it seems. Um, Hey, how has BI changed your plans for Lake Country's future?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I can answer that in a couple of different ways, both from,
Okay.
I guess, a growth perspective and a strategy perspective. You know, from from a growth perspective, we've seen 3 years of consecutive growth, as I mentioned, which is the first time in the history of our company, and we're on our way to our fourth consecutive year of growth this year, and we've been very blessed with that, considering the circumstances of this year. But I cannot entirely say that is purely dedicated to data visualization and business intelligence, but it certainly was an important factor in that and helping us achieve um, that goal.
Yeah,
From a strategy perspective, it was the missing puzzle piece in helping us see our gaps and helped us uncover opportunities not yet realized. We now had a tool that gave us the data to make better informed decisions versus guessing, which is what we were doing previously.
I see.
The next chapter is to improve the data visualization components and to improve the relevancy and begin looking at how the BI software can forecast different trends and seasonal factors for our business, which will help us identify potential red flags far more quickly and to help us capitalize on different opportunities or segments or product categories that we might not have otherwise noticed. Um, and so, yeah, we're
Awesome.
excited for the next chapter.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, so I'm just adding one thing to this based on your comment earlier. You had to do any tweaks based on the last 6 months of the pandemic impacts? Anything you have to adjust based on what's happening or what's going to happen in the future?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting year for us. We really seen a huge growth in our retail part of our business, which has been driving our growth for a majority of the year, where other parts of our business, the industrial part of our business is down. And that's because many manufacturers throughout COVID had to shut down. We had miles driven are down. So we service the auto body shop industry or PBE. So miles driven are down. That impacts how many obviously car accidents and collisions that occur, and so that was a trend that now we're able to see using the Power BI data visualizations to see those trends and to understand which parts of our businesses are growing. And the retail side of our business, so we do a lot of private label business for the major brands that service the automotive retailers. So O'Reilly Auto Parts, which we also private label for, AutoZones, Advanced Auto Parts, etc. And we've seen a tremendous growth in those and products in the car care sector. So a lot of people obviously being at home, looking for things to do to keep their time occupied. We're starting to see that they're using our products far more often than they were previously. So that's where we've seen a lot of our growth, and it's put a little bit of pressure on us from a manufacturing side, just because of with low, well, the unemployment rate was at a very low rate, and then now with obviously with the programs that are available for unemployment, it's still made it very challenging for us to find help, and we're kind of struggling a little bit in our production side, but the data powered, and that's another example of Power BI. We're starting to use that in developing KPIs in our production process. So we're going to start having TVs broadcasted showing our KPIs for our production team, so that they can see how they're performing relative to our goals and production.
Yeah, I mean, you started that bug at LCM, and now it's catching up in other areas of the business. So it's awesome to hear. And do you just want to just quickly walk through this a little bit so that we can wrap up the slide that shown here?
Yeah, so this is just our executive dashboard. It's business at a glance. It shows, for our sales and how we're trending towards prior year as well as to our plan month by month. You'll see where our top categories by sales are, and there's this doesn't show it, but there's areas where you can scroll to see more categories. But it also shows our year-to-date margin as a business, also by territory, and then we can see our sales by territory as well. So for each of the territories that for our business, we can see how they're performing relative to their plan into prior year. And then the big one that I think it's really important is to show our percentage of sales by what we call end user type, which is really our different segments that we serve.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And then our top 25 customers. There's a list there below.
Awesome. You want to show maybe another slide? Yeah. This is some example.
Yeah, this is just another example to show, our top customers, year over year, how they're performing or how they're trending. It's nice to see that, especially for anyone that's interested for a specific customer or for your territory or a different specific state. You can sort this by segment, and it just gives you a kind of a good indication of the trend. This helps with pre-call planning and just understanding, if you're going into a meeting, quickly look at, what's the sales historically been for this customer and how are they trending. This is an example of our conversion rate for closed opportunities. This is for our business, for all territories, this view. And as you can see, we actually are trending, I believe it's 63% conversion rate for our business, which, can be different for each industry, but in my experience, anything over 40%, you're doing pretty good. So at 63%, I'm very happy with those results. And this can also help you understand too, if you're starting to see, a higher percentage in one of the different stages. So for example, our next stage here would be initial opportunity that has the highest percentage. So we're showing, I don't know, probably 14-15% of our opportunities are lost in our initial opportunity stage. So meaning they get qualified, they get put into the sales funnel, and then they're closed out. They're for whatever reason, could be because of price, timing, etc. But this gives you an opportunity maybe for us to coach individual contributors when you're looking at these different stages and to see their percentages in each stage. If you're seeing a high percentage in one of these stages outside of one, it probably is an opportunity for improvement. So an initial opportunity, generally that's your qualifying stage. You're probably not doing a good enough job of qualifying your leads if you're seeing a higher percentage of opportunities closing in the initial opportunity stage. Same thing applies for focus target. So if you're at 90% probability of closing and you're starting to see a trend of 40-50% of your opportunities that are lost at that stage, that's probably telling you have an issue with closing, and you need to really look at that process with your individual contributor or team for that matter. And it could be they're not identifying the key decision makers. They're getting all the way down, and then it goes to a key decision maker, and you haven't brought them into the sales conversation, and they end up killing the deal. So those are just other tools and examples you can use to manage your team.
Awesome.
And this is just another view of sales by month, which is kind of similar to the previous example. So there's a lot of different views and ways you can use the data for territory analysis or if you're looking at your business overall. So it's helpful to see trends, obviously, and that's generally where we use these type of dashboards. And when we created the Power BI, we came up with we have a sales dashboard that we haven't shared here, but it will show you kind of an overview of each territory and how they're performing month to date and year to date versus their plan, as well as how they're performing over the prior year. And it shows you also some trends in their future release, current release buckets of what we have in the kind of the pipeline and production. And then we created the product dashboards specifically to look at different views on product trends within our business and within each territory. So that was a lot of that's used with the sales team for their pre-call planning. So they're going into a call or they have a sales meeting. They can quickly run some reports and understand out of all of the product lines that we offer, how many are they currently buying? Which ones are they not buying? And those would be call objectives, I'd call them, to find out why they're not buying them. Is there a specific reason they're not purchasing those products? And those are opportunities. And then we have our opportunities dashboard, which is focused on our sales funnel, essentially. So we can look at number of opportunities. We can look at the value by stage. So in terms of value, meaning dollar, how many opportunities do we have in our sales funnel? And then looking at those conversion rates as well as our average sales cycle time.
Awesome. Hey, this is awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, Katie, please take it over, please.
Oh, absolutely. I was just kind of getting this up there. I know we're gonna be wrapping up pretty quick here, but there is a question here. Don, you were able to come in and drive incredible changes at your organization. It sounds like you came in at or near the top of the food chain. Any advice for those trying to drive change upstream? And where you start?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question, and I've been in that position in some of my previous roles, because it obviously helps when I'm at kind of the top and I'm kind of leading the change, but I think establishing a case, and I think that's where you can really leverage partners like SSR to help kind of provide the type of data and knowledge to present your case, for your business. So identify first where your gaps are and you're struggling, and then
Excuse me.
seeing if there's an opportunity, to partner with, someone like SSR who can help with that kind of pitch or presentation. I think those are the things that have helped me in the past, because oftentimes there's limited resources available, and using your coaches or business partners to help you establish those roadmaps and those presentations are critical, I think, in helping get senior management buy-in. A lot of senior managers are about the numbers, and that's been in my experience anyways, and being able to present solutions, not only identifying what your problems are, but coming with some solutions. I think you can really make a lot of progress, and understanding from a budget perspective too, what are realistic expectations.
Excellent. Thank you, Don. Raj, did you have any other questions?
I think Don, it was a fantastic conversation, and I believe this will help not just the people that are attending. This is going to help others who can listen to this in the future too. So thank you for your time, and we want to just appreciate all the information you shared so far.
Yes, absolutely, Don. Thank you for all the information you shared, Raj. Thanks for walking us through that conversation today. And thank all of you for participating. As you can see, we have some more sessions coming up in October to celebrate National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We hope you can join us. And again, this session was recorded, so we'll be sharing that recording in the next few days. There'll also be a survey in that email with the recording. Hopefully you can give us your feedback, and we'll use it to put on more great TechBytes sessions going forward. So thank you all for your time today, and we'll see you back on here soon. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Don.